Okay, so this exercise is called the tuck front lever to tuck back lever. Here we go. So we want to adjust the rings so when you go upside down, your head can clear the ground. Now, what you want to do is get yourself upside down on the rings, right? So the first thing you want to do is get your shoulder blades set back. I've got my shoulder blades squeezed together, and then from there, what we're going to do is keep the shoulders squeezed together. We're going to bring the knees into the chest, right? Keep the shoulders set back. Keep your eyes focused on your knees, and then bring your hips down to shoulder level. Now, when we're in this position, we're trying to keep our shoulders retracted down and back. We're going to hold that position, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to come up, reset. I like to take the feet up, squeeze the shoulders back, bring the knees back down again, and then you're taking your hips down to shoulder level. Pause, keep the hips open, 1, 2, 3, pull back up again. Reset, shoulders on, look at the ground, bring the knees back, hold the hips at shoulder level, squeeze the shoulders back, 1, 2, 3, reset, and back to back lever, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what we want to do is attempt to do anything from 2 upwards to 6 repetitions. This movement is the Bulgarian lunge. So what we're going to do is elevate the back leg on a box or a bench. I like to not go anything higher than the knee. So what we're going to do is elevate the back leg up onto the bench, and then we're going to lunge down and keep the body weight moving forward slightly. Feel the nice big stretch in your hip flexor. Make sure your knee is not traveling inwards. Come back up. So what I mean by not letting the knee travel inwards, we're not letting the knee fall in like that. So we've got to consciously, as we're doing the movement, pull the knee out to the side, yeah? So torque that knee out, lean forward slightly, bring the back leg down, leaning forward to avoid the lower back hyperextending, coming back up again. So I'm going to show you a side view so you can see the importance of not arching the lower back or hyperextending the lower back. So back leg elevated, and then we're going to come down and making sure that we don't lift the chest up like that. We want to lean forward slightly to avoid the lower back hyperextending. Feel the stretch in the back leg, drive back up again. All right, so that one's the Bulgarian lunge. What I like to do is get to at least 10 reps out and then move forward up to 20 reps. Once you can achieve 20 reps, then you can start adding loads like dumbbells and that type of thing. This exercise is the pike handstand with a alternating leg extended vertically. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use a chair or a box. Again, the chair or the box we want it about knee height. And then I'm using parallettes here, which make it a lot more friendlier on the wrist joint. So here we go. We're going to go into a pike position on to the feet on the box, driving up, driving the shoulders up into the ears, pushing the head back. Now, here's what we want to do. We want to take this leg up and push that leg back. Hold it up like you're into a handstand. 1, 2, 3. Bring the leg down, bring the other leg up, push up, lock, press through your shoulders, lock the leg, 1, 2, 3. When you're pushing up, you want to make sure that you're pushing your shoulders into your ears and you're pulling your head forward as much as you can. This one will give you a really good load through your shoulders and really give you the understanding of what it needs to do to take the load and the line through a handstand. So we're going to aim to do a minimum of 2. Okay, so I call this one the froggy squat. So what we want to do here is we want to get a mat, like a yoga mat, and then what we're going to do is we're going to roll the yoga mat up so it creates a nice cylinder. So what this is going to do, it's going to give you a heel raise, which will allow you to get into this deep squat position far more efficiently because of the mobility that you've allowed in the ankles. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a front view and then I'm going to show you a side view, yeah? So you see here, I've taken my legs up, my ankles up onto the elevation, and then I'm squatting all the way down. So getting nice and deep, keeping the lower back erect. We're then going to wedge those elbows into the knees like that. Keep the chest up, yeah? We're going to push the hips up just above the knees, and then we're going to sink back down. Now I'm going to show you a side view because it's really important what you're doing with your lower back onto this exercise here, yeah? So, heels nice and raised, sitting down. Notice my lumbar curve in my back. See how I'm keeping my lumbar upright. At no point do you want your tailbone to be tucking like that. That'll pull on the lower back and hurt the sciatic nerve. So we want to keep that lumbar erect. So if that means that you can only come down to that range of motion, that's what you do, right? So I'm going to go to my fullest range of motion that I can go to, and I'm going to wedge my elbows in my knees. I'm pushing my booty out and back, keeping that nice lumbar curvature, and then coming back down again. Pushing the hips up, coming back down again. So here you'll feel a tremendous load through the quads, and we're going to do a minimum of 10 and pushing up to trying to achieve 20 reps. Okay, so this is the hanging knee tuck. So what we're going to do is place the rings up as high as you can reach, as long as your feet can touch the ground. So you see I've got my rings up there. Next thing you're going to do is set up your foundation. So your foundation is getting your shoulder blades to depress down. The next thing you want to do is tuck your pelvis up and under, making sure that pelvis is locked up and under. We don't want any arching of the lower back like that. So engage your scapula down, tuck your pelvis up and under, push your knees together, flex your knees into your chest, come down with control, reset the shoulder blades down, tuck the pelvis up and under, bring the knees into the chest, compress, and come down. So what you want to do with this one is you want to aim to get up to 10 repetitions. This exercise is the hack squat using the gym ball and a wall. So we're going to place the gym ball in the back against the wall, place the lower back pressed into the ball. We're then going to have our feet facing nice and straight, and we're going to have the feet forward a little bit. Now, we're going to push the bum back into a squat pattern. We're pushing the lower back into the ball, ensuring that nice natural curve through that lower back. And we're going to get as deep a range of motion as we can. What we want to avoid doing is tucking the pelvis up and under like that. So what I mean by that is you don't want your pelvis pulling down at the back. You want to keep that neutral curve in your back when you're squatting back, right? So feet nice and straight, shoulders open, stick the bum back. Go down as deep as you can tolerate. Feel the load. 1, 2, 3. Come back up again. Make sure your feet are nice and straight. Make sure your knees are turning out. And make sure you're keeping that nice lumbar curve through the lower back, going as deep as you can. And up and down. So we want to do a minimum of 10 reps, building it up to 20 reps. This movement is called the scapular push-up. So what we're going to do is go into a push-up position. Now you'll notice I'm using parallettes here, and the reason why I'm using those is they're a lot more forgiving on the wrist joint. So locking the elbows. The most important thing about this position is turning the bicep in and forward. So you want the crook of your bicep turning in and forward. So the elbow is facing straight back. What this will do is externally rotate that shoulder and put it in a really good strong position. This is a very good foundation movement to get this elbow in, especially for the straight arm pushing work. So we're going to get into a push-up position, lock, press the shoulder blades apart, turn the biceps in and forward. The next thing we're going to do is sink the shoulder blades together, keep the pelvis tucked up and under, and then press up, drive the shoulder blades apart. One of the biggest mistakes people make with this one is when they come down, let the elbows bend and then let the back arch out. So we want to keep those elbows locked in and forward, keep the pelvis locked up and under by squeezing the butt up and under and bracing the abs. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, lock the biceps in and forward, push the shoulder blades apart. Avoid piking the hips up like that when you come up to the top. Keep those hips down, locked in, pressing through. And the way you can also progress it is to lean forward more into more of a pseudo push-up position. So we want to aim to do up towards 10 repetitions of this one. This movement is the kneeling sissy squat. So what we're going to do is come onto the knees. We want to find a padding underneath the knees. So you see I've got a nice soft mat here. You can take a yoga mat and roll a yoga mat underneath your knees just to protect your kneecaps because there's a lot of pressure going into the knees here. So what we want to do with this one here is we've got the toes pointing back to push those feet into that plantar flexion position. We're going to then scoop the pelvis up and under. This is the important part of the movement. You must keep that pelvis scooped up and under. We're going to hold the hands on the hips to ensure you've got that feeling of keeping that pelvis scooped up and under. We're going to hinge back as far as you can go. You'll feel the load coming up through your quads and through your abs. You bring it back up again. Now what we don't want to do is hyperextend the back like that to try gain more range of motion. All you're going to do is hurt your lower back. So eat a bit of humble pie, scoop your pelvis up and under, keep your eyes gauged down, just down below your knees, or just here in front of your knees here. Keep it scooped, hold it, 1, 2, 3, come back up again. So with this movement here, we want to aim to get up to 10 repetitions.